This is just a shame when information like this is disseminated, and here's the actual document. And again, I say, please don't misunderstand me. I am not here to criticize people who are under duress and who are trying to do a job. I also don't care about hurting people's feelings. I'm an analytical man. I deal in mathematics. If someone has to get their feelings hurt or lose their job, then perhaps that is the cost of dealing with such a thing. And there are people who should not deal with such things. The person responsible for such a magnificently huge liability, potentially, and asset, and the asset, by the way, far outstrips the liability, should be a man of absolute honor. That is a truth. When you're dealing with something like this, the person in charge should be a man who cannot and will not lie or mislead. That is important. Now, you know, I understand people get excited and upset and hurt and worried and scared. But honor. Everything that we have talked about here today, everything we have talked about comes down to a single word: honor. It's all that matters in situations like this, and it's all that matters in situations of governance. This is a great little cartoon. Run for it is not an adequate emergency action plan. Even still, communications, I think, I just fail to find words to discuss what I find going on here. People are not allowed to see certain areas of the dam. People are not allowed to take pictures of certain areas of the dam. People are not even allowed access to certain areas of the dam. We take pictures and we give them to the public when public asks to take pictures. There's nothing that should be hidden here because this dam is owned by you people. It is owned by you. This is your dam. Nobody can take it away from the public and hide it from us. This dam belongs to us. We have the right to the information. Emergency action plan. I know everybody's probably had a great learning experience with emergency action plans. Much of the basis for the EAP and the inundation studies that were run were based on more normal failure modes than some of the ones that we've looked at here, and are inaccurate as they stand. And I'm hoping that those will get resolved here eventually. Trigger points. I think, you know, I'd like to leave you with something meaningful, and I have no business telling you what to do, because that truly is none of my business. I will tell you this: if I lived here and the elevation of that pool began to threaten 901, I would have my little Lisa in the car, and we'd be packed with our dog, and we'd be on our way out of here. That's what I would do. The issues that come into play, I suspect, on elevations of water around the 900 mark include multiple areas of porting. At that point, the dam is at elevation ranges that it has only experienced once or twice, and that would be for me enough to get me rolling down the highway. Hopefully, we can keep it down through the construction process. Is there anyone in here who thinks this thing's going to be done in 9 months? Yeah. I just wonder, not a single hand, so everyone knows. I would certainly, in those evolutions where the water's coming up and you recognize the possibility, things like filling your car up and things like that, it's prudence to have your car filled. I've talked to some people after dam failures, and it's the funniest thing. The things that they say to me are not what you would expect. The people that get out, lose their home, very possibly lose their job and their livelihood, and have to start a new life. And what they say to me is, my God, Scott, if only I could have had our wedding pictures. If only I had a picture of my father. So do that for me, and take those things and make sure you know where they are and that they're ready to go. So if, heaven forbid, we do have to evacuate, you're ready to go, and you don't have to have those laments after the fact. Life, liberty, I think we've talked about this, little theatrical here. We haven't come to this yet, although it may happen yet. It's discussing this dam, how magnificent it is, and indeed it is the goose that has laid the golden egg. And yet, look what we've done with it. Look what we've done with it as a people. It's a shame. There are dams that have existed for thousands of years. There are buildings that exist for thousands of years. That we have so little respect for the work of our fathers, that we have so little respect for something that does so much good to our communities, that we would allow it to digress to this level of maintenance is a sad situation and very short-sighted. All is not fine. Still, all is not fine. It will be some time before all is fine. Always when you store water, there is liability. Always. Dams have failed where there was apparently nothing wrong. We get great benefit from these dams, and we're willing to accept the level of liability for the benefit that they provide. And if I had my way, we'd have many more dams in this land of ours. Our lives would be better if we did. They're wonderful things. They're wonderful things ecologically. They're wonderful things. They produce habitat. They produce recreational opportunities. They make our water course cleaner and better. Dams are wonderful things for us. There was a time when there were dams all up and down every river, and they were produced by all the beaver that were through here. But they made such nice hats. So now we have to build our own dams. The repairs to the main spillway as proposed, I briefly talked to you about that. They're going to, as I understand it, repair the upper section of the spillway, allow it to spill on the bedrock, come back at a later time, complete the spillway. I don't object to that. I am most concerned with the head of that spillway, and particularly an area within the first couple of 100 feet where there was some backfill, which is suspect, being what we've seen of the failure, which was the secondary place on the spillway that had backfill. So we can assume that the upper section of the spillway, just beyond the tater gates, also has the same kind of porting and also will suffer the same kind of failure at velocity if we don't address that, probably with a Portland-based grouting program. One thing that seems glaringly obvious, and I don't know if the engineers involved on the project have considered it, but at the point when you have an emergency spillway that no longer is reasonable to use, it is wise to look at a secondary area for relief in the event that you get those kind of elevation changes. One of those is one of the saddle dams, not the one by the marina, but the other one. And you can see its indication there kind of by a blue line, if that's accurate. Yes, the blue line to the right there. No. There's an area that has appropriate elevation that could be prepped to act as an emergency spillway. It will erode away a hillside into the Feather River, I can promise you, but it is segregated from the main embankment of the dam, And it may be a safer place. I don't know. I don't have any soil borings, but it certainly is something that if I were involved on the project now, that I would be seriously looking into. This is some of the history. And I won't go through that again. I think I've talked about all those things. More discussion of the needed repairs. And I can make this available to anyone that it might be beneficial to in any way. I'm kind of running out of time. FERC, and I'm very frustrated. I wish that people hadn't changed at FERC that have changed, that it became people I don't know because I'm getting old now and all my friends are retiring. But I don't understand.